Now, it takes a while for us to go live on some platforms. It says we're live now. But welcome back to Silicon Scoop. And with me as always is my co-host John Irwin. How you doing today, John?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. And we're starting just a couple of minutes late, so I wanted to jump right into this as quickly as possible. This one was yours, Meta AI protein generation model and its impact on biotech. You want to take us through what's going on here?
Yeah, this is super, super cool. So, this is where I see the benefit for machine learning, or AI, as everyone likes to call it. So, there's a new AI system called ESM3, which is poised to revolutionize protein design, which is critical to the body. So, it's been created by scientists formerly at Meta. So ESM3 is being hailed as one of the largest AI ML models ever aimed at biology. And it was trained on a massive database of over 2.7 billion protein sequences and structures, which allows it to generate entirely new protein designs according to specific criteria. So the goal of this is to make protein engineering as easy as using, let's say, a search engine, right? So what the creators did was they tested ESM3 by redesigning. I don't know if you guys know about the famous green fluorescent protein that makes jellyfish glow. So what they did was they prompted ESM3 to create novel proteins containing the key fluorescent components. So out of nearly 200 designs that came up out of this that were output, several were as bright as the natural green fluorescent protein, or GFP. One called ESM-GFP matched the structure of natural proteins, but had a wildly different sequence, which is super, super cool. So the designers say this represents 500 million years of simulated evolution. Okay. So, but the hype aside, ESM3 demonstrates the potential to artificially design useful proteins. So, what the hell does this mean? How is this? What's the applications, right? So, possible applications include custom enzymes, antibodies for medicines, and even biosensors, which is really cool. Now, the interface allows users to simply describe the desired functions in natural language. Then the ESM3 churns through possibilities to output tailored proteins, which could accelerate discovery and sustainable solutions. Obviously, we're talking, there's some ethical risks of misuse. So there's going to need a lot of vigilant governance for this. But the ability to massively expand protein diversity could be transformative. But obviously, as everything, there's a lot of challenges to overcome. The thing to think about, or the underlying, is that most designs failed to fold properly, so indicating that there's room for improvement. And we talked about folding proteins in a previous podcast, but
Yep.
specialized labs will be needed to create and test the proteins. But this is super, super, super cool.
Yeah, this is very interesting. How might this technology improve medicines or human health for the future? Could it design antibodies or enzymes? We can see that it potentially helping discover new drugs and stuff, but
Yeah, there's significant potential here. So the AI could be used to design new antibody structure tailored to bind to specific disease-causing agents or cells. This could enable more targeted and potent therapies. It could also design novel enzymes to catalyze important chemical reactions for drug synthesis or breakdown, which could enable better drug delivery methods or systems to clear harmful compounds in the body. The other thing is that the AI may be able to create protein-based sensors that can detect biomarkers for diagnosing conditions earlier or enabling better disease monitoring, which is super, super cool. So enzymes could also be designed for synthesizing complex drug compounds more efficiently and sustainably. But like, this is cool. The flexibility of the design process could surpass limitations of natural protein evolution to create therapeutic proteins not possible currently. Like, this is unprecedented. This is really cool. Yeah. And this is one of those, we talk about a lot of stuff that we've covered is theoretical or things like that. This is actually being done, which is awesome.
Yeah, it says pharmaceutical companies spend billions of dollars, which we know, and years of research to develop new drugs. AI generated proteins could drastically reduce both time and cost involved in identifying new drug candidates, paving the way for faster,
Yeah.
more efficient treatments. So we talked about how it can help humans and health. What about the environment? Is there a way to
Yeah.
create sustainable new proteins?
Yeah. So one thing to note though, and this is going to be controversial, but I hate to say it, but pharmaceutical companies are in the business of keeping you sick and you staying sick. That's how they make their money, right? So I don't know if they're going to embrace this. They might, because it's going to be cheaper for them to create new drugs. But yeah, there's some ethical things. But yeah, essentially, pharmaceutical companies are just in it to make money, and they're in just like any company, but they make more money the longer you're sick. So it's, but anyways, let's dive into this question. Potential environmental benefits. So what this could do is it could design some cool novel enzymes for breaking down waste plastics and recycling them into new materials and chemicals, which could reduce plastic pollution. It could create improved enzymes for digesting plant biomass into biofuels like ethanol in a more efficient manner. So this sustainable energy source could reduce reliance on fossil fuels. Also, there could be new proteins tailored to extract rare earth metals from electronic waste, which could enable cleaner e-waste recycling and reduce the need for mining. Also, enzymes could degrade contaminants and remove pollutants from water sources. Proteins could sequester excess atmospheric carbon dioxide, which is a huge problem at large scales, which could potentially combat climate change. Also, biosensors for detecting toxins or pollutants could be designed to improve environmental monitoring, and they could optimize proteins for nutrition and growth, which could promote sustainable agriculture with fewer resource imports. So, a lot of interesting novel potentials for this.
Do we see the costs going down? Like, imagine right now it's expensive only at a lab level, but at some point, we've seen about printing 3D DNA printers. Do we get down to the point where we can democratize protein engineering so somebody in his basement could, theoretically run these tools and
Yeah, actually, they did release a scaled down open source version that academics can experiment with. Obviously it's far more limited, but yeah, the at full power, just like any AI or LLM, the computational power is massive for the training process, which means only large companies have access to the full capacity. But running and using the AI models, although it requires high performance cloud computing, most universities could access a scaled down version of it. But the wet lab facilities and equipment needed to synthesize and test the proteins are also super costly and time consuming to establish, right? So I think as the technology matures, or you come up with competitors come up, they could provide maybe a cloud-based design for services or synthesize protein products for purchase, which could improve accessibility. Obviously, open source advances and decreasing cloud computing costs could eventually make the modeling capabilities more available for typical labs. But for now, it's limited.
So this becomes a little scary when it's promising for all sorts of ways, but it becomes scary at a biological level when, is biology becoming more like computer science? We just programming different things to change us or life versus,
Yep.
what?
Yeah, it is, because think about CRISPR, right? CRISPR, you can edit DNA using CRISPR, right? Which is scary. But everything comes back to technology. Everything you think medical, you don't even think medical anymore. You think med tech. You think agriculture, you don't really think agriculture too much. You think ag tech. Just like this is biotech. So yeah, since the emergence of protein design AI, it does suggest that biology is becoming more programmable and engineering based. Biology obviously has traditionally progressed through painstaking experimentation and accumulating a lot of empirical knowledge. The complexity of living systems obviously make rational design difficult. But cool thing about AI is that now it allows us to leverage massive data sets, learning algorithms, and computational power to create and design new proteins and pathways. So instead of what we like to call sporadic discovery through trial and error, we can now pursue targeted, engineered solutions to define problems. So we're shifting from a descriptive observational science to more of a predictive design-based engineering discipline, essentially. But obviously, there's still a lot of challenges in implementing design solutions in the messy reality of biology, but the parallels to programming are pretty clear, I think.
So where do you see this going next?
Yeah, I don't
like we talk about it going to agriculture, we talk about going to medicine, we talk about going to this.
Yeah.
Like, what is the field that's really going to take this to the next level? Like, that's really going to glom onto
That's a
this.
good question. I would say, well, it all depends, right? It all depends on where the money comes from, essentially, because you could talk about food science, you could talk about pretty much any avenue. You could talk food science, agriculture, textiles, sustainable energy, material science, biotech, which covers a lot of different things. But it's where is the money going to be made, right? So there's a lot of different pathways that this could take. What I'm hoping is that there's going to be other competition that sparks up, and then specific focus on specific areas, so that we could expand quickly the fields that this could impact. Even one thing I didn't even talk about, which is my love, is hydrogen. This could help with hydrogen production, right? So really, it's really unlimited as to what fields or what disciplines that this could help innovate.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think in agriculture, just as we grow and grow and we need more and we need our food to have more protein or more this or more that, we can now design it to be different. So
Yeah.
but that's also scary at the same time. I really like where this is going. Any final words on, this game-changing
No, but
protein
now that
generation?
you talk about that, the one thing I didn't think of is how is this any different from genetically modifying things? Like,
Yeah,
as
that's what
far
I'm
as,
saying.
yeah, we'll have to do a deep dive into that. But I think obviously this could be safer. But I'll have to do a deep dive into that. But that's my final thoughts on that. I'll leave you guys with that.
Great. Now, apparently, there was a big announcement from Meta yesterday, and I might
Yeah.
not have their thing up here, but let's talk about this new Meta Orion glasses. What did you think?
Oh, I thought this was super cool. So I watched a bunch of different videos. So one thing to note is that these are 100% prototype. They're not ready for market. So there was a lot of glitches and things like that. But you and I have talked about AR glasses in the past, and I've looked into some. These are beyond anything that's currently out there. So it's a groundbreaking design. It's the most advanced glasses that the world's ever seen, as touted by Mark Zuckerberg, but they really are. So it weighs only 98 grams, which is much lighter than other mixed reality headsets. The frames are made from magnesium for heat dissipation, but the thing is the display technology. So it uses micro LED projectors inside the frame instead of like LCDs. So it projects images via waveguides in the lenses, which is so cool. The other cool thing is there's a 70-degree field of view, which is wider than most existing AR glasses. But it's sharp enough, like the picture itself, for engaging video calls and reading text, which is super, super cool. It combines with this neural wristband too, that uses electromyography to interpret hand movement signals as well for you to interact with it. And it's got a millisecond response time for the intuitive control. This is cool.
Yeah, I was watching some of the videos on this and some of the reviews. This is interesting. I mean, it's not just as pair of glasses. You've got this little case like shaped thing that's the brick where it has all the processing power they have to have around. And like you said, you've got the wristband that now not only it doesn't always have to be in the field of view of your glasses, you can do commands off. It looks interesting, but at the same time, are we there yet?
No. I like the fact that it's wireless. There's no wires. The crappy part about it, it's only got about 2 hours of battery life. So obviously, they got to work on that. But with the wireless computing puck, it operates within 12 feet of the computing puck. So you can have it in your backpack as you're walking around, or in your Mercs if you got a Mercs. But that's the only bulky thing that you have to carry around. But these glasses are what I feel that Steve Jobs would have designed instead of those crappy Vision Pro that Apple came out with.
Yeah, Apple's priced their Vision Pro at over $3,000. It was $3,800. The expected market price of the Orion glasses set around $700. So this makes it accessible to a broader audience. Yeah.
Yeah, the one thing to note, do you know how much it currently costs to produce one of these?
No. How much?
$10,000.
Wow. And it doesn't look great, but it looks better than the Vision Pro because it looks like normal glasses, at least somewhat.
Honestly, it looks like normal glasses with thick rims. Like thick rims are popular now. I don't think it looks too different from the current, I guess, fashion trend of glasses.
Yeah, and I was watching it. It definitely needs some work, but I like that. Like you're saying, it was saying you could leave screens. Like I'm working here, and I'll have screens. I'll move them over here, whatever screens I want, and then I can leave the room and come back, and they'll be there. So, okay, I'm not. I kind of like that, but at the same time, I don't know if I do, just because. Like example with the Apple, with the new Sequoia, you're loving it for all sorts of reasons. I really hate the new feature. I had to go search for it and find it, turn it off, where it automatically changes your windows, puts them in different locations. You go move to the corner and now it goes full screen, or it goes this or goes this automatically. I'm like, I know how to put my windows where I want them. Please stop. Every time, like I got 10 windows open, it's got to move everything around so things are unreachable. I feel like this is the same type of thing where the controls aren't going to be there. It's going to assume you want to do stuff, and it's not going to be what you want it to be. But people really like in the interface. The stuff I saw when they're doing calls is that the person calling you couldn't see your face, but they say there was internal cameras to put your face on there, but I didn't see that functionality. Did you see it?
No, but it's got 7 built-in cameras, but that's more for spatial anchoring, eye hand tracking, and AI visual understanding. So I'm not sure where they got that, where they'd be able to see your face.
Yeah, and I think when they were talking about it, they're saying, I guess they map your face and they put it on some sort of avatar, so the person talking you can see some avatar.
Well, you know what? Nowadays with AI, like I could have someone attending my this podcast for me, right? So I don't see why that they couldn't implement that technology into these AR glasses.
Well, with face recognition on the iPhones and stuff for people unlocking their phones, there's no way that those people can't automatically now create an image of you that actually looks and functions just like you, because you've unlocked your screen thousands of times with your iPhone. Come on now. What do you think Apple's doing with that tech?
Yeah.
With that info. This looks great. I like some of the automatic augmented reality, but I'm reminded of the Rabbit R1 demo, and it says, hey, look, there's a bunch of stuff here. What can I make for dinner? And it takes a look and analyzes, hey, you can make a smoothie, or you can do this. Great.
Well, hold on though. With the Rabbit R1, it did do all that stuff that they showed it in the thing. It's just people realized that
That's not very
you
useful.
just needed an Android app for that.
Yeah, I mean, my point being is the stuff they're demoing isn't very useful. It's interesting and it demonstrates the capabilities of AI to say, hey, I can visually analyze what's in front of me. I can take that information, process information, do something with it. Great. But can we get some real practical examples other than somebody's bored and can't figure out what to have for lunch?
Yeah. Well, the couple things that I'm excited about as far as the use cases are that if you get a text message, it'll show on the glasses, and then you can respond to that text message using NLP by like speech to text, or live translation.
Live translation's good. I guess speech to text and stuff is fine, but we have that now on our phones. I guess it's just not on our head. So now we're going to get more visually distracted by text coming
Yeah.
in.
No, I know, but then you also get like you can get directions and things like
Yeah,
think about the AR glasses.
there
Yeah,
are things, directions. Yeah, not a
yeah.
bad thing. There's a few things that are interesting. But again, is this really anything great? We see Meta's got the Ray-Ban glasses now. When are these going to replace those?
Yeah, I think we're years away. Like,
Because
yeah,
you
I
know,
think they said they're aiming for a consumer release within a few years.
because I see the
So,
commercials and I laugh because it's like, hey, Meta, take a picture. And they're going like this. Okay, when do you want it to exactly take a picture?
yeah,
Like you say take a picture. Does it do it in that second? Does it take dozens and you choose? Do you go like this and then you blink and it takes a picture? Like, when you have a camera, you're framing it, you're doing the focus halfway down, then you take the picture. Like,
yeah.
so, there's some interesting stuff here that it's moving in the right direction, but how long have we seen glasses and failure after failure? Now, the Snap glasses just came out with version 4?
Yeah, they look kind of weird.
Yeah.
They actually
So
look thicker than these glasses, to be honest. The frames.
so you are gonna get with these when they come out at $700?
At $700 for sure. That's a no brainer.
Well, probably be 1,000 because it's Canadian. Did they talk about prescription? I get in trouble
I
because
know you always think about that. I didn't
well,
see anything.
yeah, I
What's
got
that?
glasses, and you think about
Yeah,
these things, and every time I ask about these, they say you guys don't know what you're talking about because there's a lot of these ones with the diopters where you can scroll them
yeah.
around, and that's
So
great. You
yeah,
can, you, but I'm one that adds a lot of bulkiness to the thing. But I was looking for software. I wanted to be able to put in my stuff, and then because it should by pixels be able to figure that out based on. Honestly, I think that should happen versus based on your prescription and the
for sure.
depth of
Yeah,
perception from your eye. The computer should be able to generate an image that you can see.
yeah. So
Um,
I know that they did say that could feature different lenses. That's all that I think I heard.
and it's kind of like talking to me when you're talking to somebody with them. Like right now, you can see my eyes are kind of
Yeah,
googly and things are shining around, but that's the stuff is flashing in the
yeah,
glasses when you're talking
exactly.
to people.
Yeah,
So I'm not, it's interesting. It's definitely a step closer to what you're looking for by walking in a room and being able to, identify people, follow them on LinkedIn and that kind of stuff. It looks like we're moving definitely more and more in that
yeah.
direction.
It comes back to the thing that I wanted, right? When you walk into a room and it'll tell you who's this person, who's that person, where you're like that would be awesome for me.
Well, I can't tell you how many people think they've got a new networking solution because everybody's lonely. We have a loneliness crisis. You go to networking, you don't know who's in
Yeah,
the room, you don't know this, that. And there's a bunch of startups trying to solve this problem. But,
yeah,
ultimately, the solution is an AR based solution that you can
yeah,
look around the room and ideally identify people quickly and then flag those people you want to talk to or
yeah.
whatnot or get versus um a bunch of keywords and stuff where you're going to connect with people. This is it's kludgy and it's not natural for people. So
Yeah.
I think
Al-
we're just missing the technology to jump to this level.
Although, yes, I agree, but I think one company is getting close to a decent networking app, and that's Oot. I've followed them from almost, well, day two maybe. I love the app that they have because it's not just virtual. It's virtual and in person, and it's just I think it's a decent solution once they're able to get it out there.
Yeah, I've been following it for a while, and I have their app on my phone, and it's nice to watch them go along. But I'm talking about in the last couple of events, I had 2 startups per event pitching me and showing me the same type of thing that they're doing, not at the level of Oot's doing. And I'm like, okay, but that's an extra step, right? So now I got to look at the round. I got to load up my app, look who's here on the app. And they're trying to stop the problem of people looking at their phones when they're at networking events, except now you got everyone looking at their phones at networking events to figure out who they're talking to. So they're not, it's very counterintuitive to go about, okay, I've got this person with hashtags. Now I got to find this face in the crowd who's dressed differently, his hair's differently, this is differently. It's not it's just not conducive. And why do I have to pull out this other app for this event and a different app for that event? So I think what Oot is doing is slightly is different because they're building a community and communities around different things that can also network with the app versus a specific networking app that's completely different. It's just, people are trying to replace business cards. And this is like, again, it's not an Oot or anyone else thing. It's just we haven't done it properly yet, where we can quickly exchange. We all do LinkedIn, pull out the thing, do this, do that. It's still pretty kludgy. Anyway, this is moving in the right direction. So we'll follow this. Did you when are they going to be out?
They said in a few years. So I'm guessing a few years in tech typically probably means 5.
They say won't hit consumer market until at least 2027. Meta's already testing prototypes with its team, and I saw like the Verge testing and a few other people. So it looks interesting. It looks like pretty cool technology. They've spent billions and billions and billions on this, so we'll have to see whether it pays off for them.
Yeah.
All right. Let's jump to this next one. Microsoft and nuclear technology. So Microsoft is opening up a nuclear power plant on 3 Mile Island to power their AI plants. What do you think about this?
Yeah, well, you and I have talked about this extensively in our podcast about the power consumption that's needed for AI and backyard nukes and things like that, backyard nuclear reactors and things like that. So I'm not surprised. So, but I am surprised that they chose 3 Mile Island because that was the site of the most significant nuclear accident in U.S. history. So, I think it's a smart move. It could have far-reaching implications for the future of nuclear power, not just in the U.S. but in the world. But this is cool. So there's this partnership between Microsoft and Constellation Energy, who are the current owners of 3 Mile Island, and they're looking. This kind of aligns with Microsoft's commitment to becoming carbon negative by 2030, but also it reflects the increasing energy demands of the industry. So I think they're going in the right direction by going nuclear, but choosing this site was kind of interesting.
Yeah, definitely. So Microsoft is set to reopen 3 Mile Island nuclear plant, taking a decisive step forward to powering its growing AI infrastructure with carbon-free energy. We've been talking about what's powering this stuff, and we can get into some of that later because Elon Musk apparently has got the biggest H100 powered AI supercomputer, but everyone's saying, well, where's the power coming from? Because we don't believe you're doing this. So this is a interesting side note. So the decision to partnership with Constellation Energy to increasing demands of their AI centers. So they're going to open up the 3 Mile Island Unit 1 reactor, which remained undamaged through everything, which will supply 837 megawatts of energy exclusive to Microsoft. Significance of this cannot be overstated. Microsoft is the first tech giant to rely entirely on a nuclear power for large-scale data operation, making it shift to more sustainable, reliable energy sources for AI development. Yeah, so, the 3 Mile Island nuclear plant is well known for its 1979 incident, which resulted in a partial meltdown of Unit 2. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Everyone still thinks of 3 Mile Island as where we are with nuclear power, even though we've come a long way.
Yeah, well, even me up until recently, right? I thought that there was still a lot of nuclear waste that happens, and you corrected me there. So, I
On
think
the newer plants that they're building.
Oh yeah, newer plants. Yeah. So, well, newer plants or just newer reactors.
Well, the newer reactors, right? When they're building the newer reactors, because there's still a lot of older reactors in existence.
Yeah, let's hope that they do something to retrofit it, and maybe who knows, but like nuclear power, it's safe nowadays, it's efficient, and it reduces carbon emissions. So there's a lot of good things around it, as long as the safety measures and there's newer technology that's implemented. I think this is a great idea.
Microsoft data centers consume the equivalent of 800,000 households annually. So the nuclear power plant offers an ideal solution. The question becomes, do we want corporations owning nuclear power plants? We got to sit back and say, isn't that a government thing versus corporate? But,
well, as a side note,
yeah,
go ahead. No,
because now, the whole threat is you can get potential material that you can take and use it in other nuclear weapons and whatnot. And, you want military grade level security around this stuff rather than, just checking in with your swipe badge.
Yeah. Well, the one thing to think about is that you might not know this. I read it somewhere. I'll have to find out, but like Elon Musk controls key global infrastructure when it comes to the power grid. So in the US. So like this is just another tech company that's going to own another power producing option, right? So yeah, we either need to start looking into this and figuring out a way to regulate it, or figuring out if this is a smart move, or let it happen. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
I don't know either, because I don't know how easy it is to take and make dangerous stuff out of this. So today's reactor feature passive safety systems that operate without human intervention or external power. In the event of emergencies, these systems rely on natural forces like gravity or convection to cool the reactor. This is in stark contrast to older systems, which require active components like pump, making them more vulnerable during a failure. These passive systems significantly reduce the risk of accidents such as the one that occurred. One of the innovations in modern reactors is the ability to automatically shut down and cool themselves. For example, new designs like the small modular reactor can safely manage heat dissipation without relying on external electricity or complex operator actions to making them safer. So they're increased safety. This one's not going to be a molten salt reactors, but I compared it to molten salt reactors in the article here, because that's one of the new, not widely commercialized versions of nuclear, which is increased safety, fuel efficiency, and reduced waste. So beyond the safety, we've got, everyone's concerned about that. They got enhanced containment structures to make sure that it's a critical improvement over older design, which had fewer fail-safes, as demonstrated on the 3 Mile Island incident. Digital monitoring with AI integration, fuel efficiency and reduced waste, regulatory advances, international oversight. The modern nuclear reactors, here we go, are under strict regulatory frameworks. So international bodies like International Atomic Energy oversee the standards, which have been significantly tightened. So I guess they all have to follow certain standards.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, the reopening of the 3 Mile Island is expected to create 3,400 jobs in Pennsylvania, from construction to plant operations. Additionally, the facility will add $16 billion to Pennsylvania GDP by the time it's fully operational. So this is great. The question becomes is, when is OpenAI going to create their own? And Google going to create their own, and
I think this is just the start. Yeah, this is just the tip of the iceberg. As long as we don't let Boeing own any, then we're fine.
Yeah, and then you can see reasons why companies like Radiant will be rolling out these mobile reactors to these companies and the power in their plants and whatnot.
Exactly.
So what do you think, buddy? You think this is the future?
I don't know. Like, obviously, we're getting more and more into getting more and more aligned with these movies that depict dystopian futures where one big conglomerate or multiple conglomerates own everything, like the power, the everything like that. So I say it's scary, but we should just watch it, keep monitoring it.
Definitely. So let's jump to this next one. We're going to do 23andMe. So the 23andMe CEO quits over going private.
Yeah, so I know you have that as the headline. I don't think that's the headline, to be honest. I think the headline is that the entire board quit on her before she resigned. So we'll just quickly, like, the whole board quit on her, and now she's resigning. So this is interesting. So Anne, I don't even know how to pronounce her last name, Wojcicki, is stepping down amid discussions of taking the company private. So it does raise several interesting questions about the future of the direct-to-consumer genetic testing, but they've been facing challenges for the last few years. Like, they had a data breach, like they've just their privacy policies are horrible. I'm surprised she's lasted this long. Let's put it that way.
I agree. Obviously they're selling your data to everybody under the sun. The question is, so they are talking about going private. You're saying the whole board quit. And now she's quit. So who's left?
Well, I think the board will come back now that she quit, I think, or some of the people. And there were some significant people on that board. Like, really, really, really key people that were on that board. So I don't know what the future is going to be. I'll have to look who was on that board of 23andMe. But this is just another this industry needs an awakening, and like the genetic testing needs an awakening. There needs to be more privacy integrated, more regulatory scrutiny. There needs to be a lot more investigation into this, and a lot more safety and privacy policies need to change. Like, there just needs to there needs to be a significant change.
Yeah, and again, when they're taking your DNA data and selling it to everybody, and then the question starts to come when you take these tests from different companies, you get completely different results, and the question is, well, are they actually valid?
Yeah.
Like, are you getting anything that's actually worth anything, or are they just giving you something that's not really relevant?
I think they're giving you some things that are relevant. I think the one thing that's more relevant for people, and you and I have talked about this, is the genetic methylated gene testing, which actually gives you some really useful information as to how to supplement so that you don't have to rely on pharmaceutical drugs. It costs $600, which is a lot more than 23andMe, but that, I think, gives you more insight than this test. But there was someone from Sequoia Capital, and then Neil Mohan, the CEO of YouTube, was on the board. And all 7 of them resigned simultaneously on September 17th, 2024, which they cited differences with the CEO. So it'll be interesting to see if they come back.
Yeah, and I guess they were trying to do more customer specific health insights, maybe more comprehensive genetic reports and that kind of stuff. So again, what I've found when reports is when you do the you know, the $600 test, for example, from these other companies, and you get a really detailed breakdown, what it comes back with is different than what the cheaper tests from 23andMe
Yeah.
show. That's what I'm saying, is the 23andMe test even valid when you start comparing it to other more comprehensive tests and you find out that it's wrong? So we'll have to see where they're going. I'm more of a fan of health, understanding your health and taking something like this where they do a custom solution for vitamins, like you're mentioning, to
Yeah.
fix issues, versus, hey, give me my background. I want to know if I'm this or I'm that and whatnot. Great. I'd rather
Yeah.
know what my markers are for um, high risk, low risk things, so I can actually adjust my life, versus saying you're 3% this, you're Asian, whatever, or European this or European that.
I know it does give you some markers for what you could potentially be vulnerable to, which is useful, but again, it's the usefulness of the information is not that good. It's cheap and you get what you pay for, essentially, right?
Absolutely. And like I said, it gives you a starting point to go ask questions. You could be susceptible to this. Okay, great. What does that mean? I gotta go. Oh, it turns out no, I'm doing all the right things, or maybe I need to adjust stuff. It's
Yeah.
we're all pre-cancer and pre-dead, right? So it's just one of those,
Yeah.
when they start predicting this stuff in the future, you have to question some of these
Yeah.
things. So
Did
let's
you
keep, yeah, go ahead.
just something to think about? I was just reading something. Did you know that there are new cancer cells that develop in your body every single day?
Well, I just assumed that. I didn't know about cancer specifically, but you
Well,
know,
amongst other
yeah,
things, but yeah,
yeah.
but your body typically gets rid of that. So, like, yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
All right, so let's jump quickly on to this next one, because apparently, and this is a little crazy, social media sites have engaged in vast surveillance.
Yeah.
They're
So, audit.
monitoring. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So, go ahead.
No, just you're going to say something.
Yeah, got to give it to the FTC. They're actually growing some cojones, and doing things that are protecting, or at least exposing things, more than just sitting back and allowing these companies to walk all over them. So the FTC did a study, and it revealed that social media platforms are engaged in what only can be described as vast surveillance of their users, which, can't say I'm surprised. Um, this is more about like duh kind of thing. But it raises serious concerns about privacy in the digital age, right?
Well, it does. I remember a few years ago we were doing a Facebook advertising webinar and whatnot, and how Facebook audience and how much information Facebook has on you. They have over 10,000 um,
Data points.
data points, way more than your wife and whatnot, or spouse. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, that's just them. And when you start saying, they know more about you than anyone else because they have this, that's everybody, because they're been fingerprinting these machines, so they know exactly who you are whenever you log in, wherever you log in.
Yeah. Yeah. This is scary. It raises, so yeah, what was it? So the use of so the most concerning aspects of this is that they're using sophisticated algorithms to analyze user behavior and predict future actions without people knowing. That's the thing. Like, without people um, um, allowing it, they're just doing it.
Yeah, and while most people
Although
understand
it is in the EULA, right? But
yeah, most people understand their data is being collected, um, they remain unclear about the extent and specifics of the surveillance. So, the data that being collected is crazy. How much data they have on you. Um, it's
yeah,
it goes back to when they started introducing point systems in the grocery stores, where
yeah,
the data they were tracking on you, they knew you were pregnant before you did. You
yeah.
know,
It takes it
by
one
the
step further. Yeah,
Yeah, and we all have heard that story where they got the email or promotion saying congratulations on being pregnant, blah 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 blah, and they came into the and complained and said no, and turns out they didn't know, but they were yelling, "How could you dare you send this to me?" It's like, okay, yeah. Now that
Yeah.
was just that. This is
Yeah.
crazy. Everything you click on, everything you search, everywhere you go, all the information you put in on all the sites about what they've got, more data on you than you can possibly imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. This is just on a massive scale now, right?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
comprehensive
This
data
is
collection allows for highly targeted marketing campaigns, which can significantly influence consumer behavior. And that's great. But when does, this take another step when we talk about pre-crime and a few other things? We're like, oh,
this is what's going to be used for pre-crime, right?
yep. We talked about
Uh,
that last week, right?
yeah. Yeah.
That
So
they're,
I think like this just underscores the importance of the US and Canada needing a GDPR type policy here. Like that, like we need it yesterday. Like people, there was actually someone that says we have PIPEDA, but PIPEDA is not GDPR. It's not even close to GDPR. It does protect, but there's no accountability with PIPEDA.
yeah, it turns out it's not the protection people thought it was. PIPEDA.
No,
So, yeah.
no.
So this is definitely worth taking a look at over at torontostarts.com. We've got information on how you can protect yourself using VPNs and stuff and encryption and setting privacy settings and controls and how to do that and where to do that. But definitely take a look at what is being tracked and understand that. So what is the FTC doing about it, John?
I don't know. So it could be a turning point in they could do something about it. It could be a turning point in how we approach data privacy and the regulation of social media platforms. But so if this were 2 years ago, I would say nothing's going to happen. The FTC has no cojones. They're not going to do anything. But in the last little bit, with everything that they've been doing and investigating, I think something could come of this. What? I don't know.
Yeah, regulatory bodies are expected to introduce stricter data protection laws and guidelines. Future data protection regulations may impose stringent requirements on data collection, storage uses, compelling social media platforms to adopt more transparent and ethical data practices. Now, the thin edge of the wedge is there's a lot of kids on social media. Are you tracking all this data for minors? And if you are, we probably got a problem with that, and let's go after them.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see where this goes.
Scary.
And we'll see what the FTC and other regulations do.
Yeah.
So apparently, OpenAI just released a new voice mode.
Yeah.
So
So
go ahead.
it's an advanced voice mode for its AI assistant, but it features more voices in a new user interface. Have you played with it yet? I haven't.
I haven't had a chance to play with it yet, but I'm hoping to this weekend.
I don't even know if we have access to it because we're in Canada. Who knows? Because most of these articles that we cover are US based articles. So I'm hoping it's more than just the US as it's been deployed. But yeah, so this development showcases the rapid progress being made in the text to speech kind of technology, which is cool. We'll have to see that. But the thing is like we've had Alexa, we've had Siri, we have Hey Google. Like, I don't see why this is so significant. It's just an NLP kind of development, right? But I don't know. Am I missing something?
Well, I guess it's just the way it's quicker to react. It's more. A lot of people are using it more on like on the app, like when you're on your phone and mobile
Yeah.
devices, so you can get it to do stuff. And it's better at it. The voice is better.
Yeah.
It's enabling interactions with more applications and using higher retention rates.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Yeah.
have voice capabilities, but I don't know about the new. I'm looking in our settings right now. I can see um the
Like
voice.
obviously the scary part about this is the like you said, it's the interaction, which is different than interacting with Alexa or Siri. But like as far as a voice, like the development of a voice option, I don't see that as significant. I see more of the underlying scariness of the interacting with the voice as opposed to the actual voice itself.
Well, it can start interfacing with other things. So we're saying, all right, if you have a smart home, now you can tell OpenAI to say, turn on the lights, turn on the TV, turn up the temperature, or have it, interact with those things. Say, what's the temperature set at? And it can go check that out and come back to you and tell you that. And
Yeah.
you know, great. Now, what does that mean? So we're hoping that in the healthcare sector, the voice AI assistant can assist patients in appointment scheduling, even preliminary diagnostics, improving overall efficiency. So it can ask you a bunch of questions and feed that information to your doctor while you're waiting. The voice interactions offer a more engaging human-like experience. It reduces the learning curve associated with new software as speaking comes more
True. Yeah.
naturally to most. And I see more and more people speaking to their phone. Like over the last 2-4 years, people speak to text all the time.
Yeah. The only thing I do with this is like I'd go, hey Google, put like I get it to create reminders and timers. That's pretty much my interaction with it.
Yeah, for most of those I do, but now that we have this could be
Yeah.
interesting depending on what interface. Voice commands can be up to 3 times faster than typing. Now, with mine, I've got a lot of prompts, I've got shortcuts, I've got cut and paste. I put a few keyboard keys in and it creates a whole prompt for me. So that's way more efficient than me speaking to it. But at
Yeah.
the same time, I could speak the codes that expand the keywords, and that would be pretty efficient. So we'll have to see how on
But
the
really?
interact.
Hold on. But with the prompts, it's quicker to talk to it than copy and paste?
No, I'm saying that I use a tool called Text Expander for a lot of stuff. So
Okay.
I have multi-step things for things. So I've got step 1, step 2. I actually type in step 1, and then it goes this big thing fills out.
Okay.
So I can literally say step 1, and it would fill it out for me. So that would probably be quicker. It'd have
Yeah.
to use the same filling out stuff, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But so that would potentially be faster. But yeah, it's not necessarily faster than cutting and pasting. But if you can say, now use the results of this into this other document, sure, maybe.
Yeah.
So it offers real-time voice recognition, enabling seamless conversations without noticeable lag. Allows people to multitask on the go. I could see it being efficient when you're, say this in Japanese and hand it to somebody and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think it'll
Yeah.
eliminate a lot of the translation software and other things that are out there.
For sure. For sure it's going to. Absolutely. Yeah.
So we'll play with this and get back to people on that.
Yeah, if we have access to it. Yeah.
All right, let's do this last one quickly. We talk a lot about battery technology, and there was a article that came out that people were analyzing that had the hype cycle and where everything is on the hype cycle and approximately when we're going to see this stuff. And I went through it all, and I created this table so we can start seeing when they're expecting some of the battery breakthroughs that we've been talking about to come out.
Cool.
So, these, and I got it sorted by, these are less than 2 years. So Q2 2025, we're supposed to see the new 4680 cylindrical cells, the silicon anodes, the LFP cathode ion, the continuous mixing, which is part of the EV process, and the double-sided coating. So these are going to increase.
I don't see those as significant advancements though, right?
I don't, except for the silicon anodes, higher capacity, faster charging, longer lifespan. That's going to jump into consumer
Essentially, yeah.
electronics.
Yeah, the silicon one, yeah.
And that is Q2 2025.
Yeah.
So then we jump past Q2 20,000, and the next jump is in 2027. We're going to see blade cells, dry coating, sodium ion batteries, which should be interesting.
Yeah.
But they're only for EVs or stationary energy storage. We're not going to see those in the consumer electronics. Non-woven membranes might be interesting, but again, Next time we're going to see stuff, lithium ion sulfur batteries, 5 to 10 years in aviation and EV.
The one I'm excited is the solid state. Yeah.
Yeah. The all solid state battery that they keep talking about is 5 to 10 years. We're expecting that in Q4 2030. It's higher density, safer, longer lifespan. And
that one I'm excited for.
And the Zinc Air 3 years after that.
That's super cool. I like this chart. This is really cool.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the PDF, but it was all over the place. So I kind of put it together and said, let's just look at the next 10 years. After we don't care after that. So the Zinc Air, the magnesium sulfur, and the aluminum air battery are 2033 approximately, based on where they are in the technology hype cycle.
Yeah.
So this is going to be go ahead.
Go ahead. I think the biggest challenge is the scaling production. That's the biggest thing when it comes to these things. Other than developing the technology, I think the biggest challenge is going to be to scale the production, because you have to be so precise in these, or at least in current battery technology, as far as development wise. So,
and these are when they're expected to hit the consumer market.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I just wanted to do a quick update on that, because we talk about all these different. And so in the article on TorontoStarts.com, you can get the chart. You can we link to the PDF that has all this information. You talk about silicon anode batteries, sodium ion batteries, all solid state batteries, and what we can expect from all of these. So I'm the challenge of bringing the new technology. Go take a look at that. We're running out of time, and I know you got a hard stop. So I'm going to ask you, what do you got going on, John?
I've got to run. Sorry, Craig. Thank you.
That's all right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Take care. Bye, Craig.
Bye.